Good evening, good evening. Hopefully everybody is okay. Let me move my cluttered work area around and make sure everything is good to go. We've been out looking at cars for this whole week. It's taken up way too much time. Thank goodness we are done, but hang on just a second. Let's make sure everything is good. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I don't hear anybody saying anything else. Hang on just a second there. I think we're good to go. I don't hear any complaints about no sound. You know, I'm terrible on that sometimes. I kind of just get trapped in my little rant. A lot of stuff's been going on this week, so I think we're back to normal. They're supposed to pick up the totaled car out of our yard, I think on Wednesday. New car comes in tomorrow. Not a new car, but a used car for the kids. So anyway, we're back to normal. Flood's all fixed. We're going to be doing, I get asked constantly, this is a question I get asked a lot, is do you sell like bulk? I'm going to get rid of some bulk stuff this weekend. Just FYI, I need space. We need space. I keep getting inventory, so we're clearing out some stuff. So I'm going to be blowing out, and I saw Jackass Retro. I was watching one of his whatnots. I'm probably going to throw some postcards up too. I've got 20 or 30,000 to do, so I might have a couple days in the next week or so. We'll blow out some of those. I don't list anything that's under $10. So any postcards that I think are going to be less than $10, I'm not going to list, and they're going to be in those bulk purchases. If you sell in a booth, I usually got back then $1 to $2 a card, no matter what they were. So anyway, there's some money to be made on some of the cheaper ones too, but I'm going to do some of those. I've got some British uniform buttons we'll probably blow out because I've got like 50 pounds extra that, I've just got an ungodly amount of some things. I got a ton of comic books. I've got some Pokemon that I pulled out. Yu-Gi-Oh! I've just got a bunch of stuff. I've got some rock records too, which we'll probably do. Maybe I'll do a random show. I kind of got the hang of the whole thing. My son's going to be doing a lot more with it. He enjoyed it, so we will do another whatnot. Yeah, that was my first whatnot fail. Called it since it didn't make sense to auction to one bidder. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. Yeah, I've only done one whatnot in my whole time. You had some decent postcards in there, Jackass Retro. I saw a Popeye's postcards. He had one on there too, and he was talking about not listing postcards, but he sold some pretty good cards in there. You could have probably made some money off of some of the ones Popeye had up the other day that I saw. Yeah, it might be the time of day too, is what I was thinking on there. I've talked to a guy from Whatnot, I don't know how many, bunch of times back and forth here and there, and they said they're trying to push people to come in the daytime in the auction. I don't know how well that would work, as it seems like most of the ones that I saw were on weekends that were doing the best. I've made a spreadsheet. I know that may sound retarded, but I made a spreadsheet of what I saw on a given day, so we've been checking it out for 2 straight weeks, every so many hour grouping time frames, and I've been marking down how many people were auctioning, and then I go in and look at some of what they've sold on Whatnot to see where they're going. So I put an equation together, and anyway, I know boring nerd stuff, but the weekends seem to be the best. I did the same thing with eBay and back in the day, and those always seem to work best. Just like if when auctions were a thing on eBay, you do an auction ending on a Sunday. I don't care when it started. You wanted it to end on a Sunday afternoon, post church time, between say 3 or 4 in the afternoon to say 9 or 10 at night. That's when you wanted an auction end. If you run an auction on eBay back in the old days, they'd get the most views because more people were home at that time, and and if you did it in that gap between 4 and 10, you caught a huge gap too of CA, California, because that's 20% of your sales possibly at any given time. Here's we'll chat some a little bit, but I've had a lot of people ask me on the Whatnot, and I've been checking it out and getting figures, as I said. Most of them have been really great. There's Marty, Jimmy Flip It. How you doing, Marty? I had a terrible one today too, on too early, and while Popeye was on, I bailed after 15 minutes. Popeyes have been absolutely killing it on one. Yeah, I saw that. Time shows haven't been great for me. I usually don't do Thursdays either. Hey Candace, how you doing? In the old days, Sunday night was the deal. Actually, yeah, Sunday night was always the best. If you are old school, you know Sunday nights. We used to run an auction. We'd run auctions. All I did was auctions back. That's all they had on eBay, and we would do one. It would start on Monday, or I think it started on Sunday till Sunday or something, or Monday. The point of it was we did 4 a week or 4 a month. They always ended on Sunday, and we do like $1,500. This was all extra money. I was working full time as a regional and stuff, and it was really good money. We were doing, oh geez, I don't know, 10, 20,000 in some months on just 4 auctions, and that was it. And sometimes we did 3 auctions. I took a break once in a blue moon. Popeye has hundreds of thousands of cherry-picked postcards. His lots have been great. You can definitely make money off of them. I've won a few myself. Can you turn up your volume? My volume is up on my end all the way around. I've had people tell me about the volume not being right, but I don't see anything wrong with the volume. Is that louder or softer? Let's see what I got here. Somebody can tell me if that's louder or softer, or if you can't hear me at all. Should be good to go. That looks like it's loud. Hang on, let me go into my settings just to see if something I got off. No, that's fine. Just checking volume. Just give me just a second here. Balance, everything, everything looks good on this end. I've got the microphone a little closer, but I've never had an issue. I'll have to do a sound check after the show. That was louder. Yeah, I've had like 5 or 6 people. My son pointed out 3 on just the other day talking about volume. I was wondering, I was trying to figure out, because I've had people tell me the volume was off. If you're watching it from like a TV or something, I think the volume is different. I've watched it from a TV just to see once before, and it was all over the place. Even though on YouTube the sound is steady all the way across. There's no highs, there weren't any lows. Let's see here. Do you have to have a certain amount of social media followers to qualify and whatnot, or does that matter? I don't know if it matters. I can't tell you. That's a good question. Whatnot is experiencing a honeymoon phase like anything new. We will see the real Whatnot experience in a year or so. Whatnot's been out for 3 years from what I understand. I looked into it a lot. I spent hours looking into it. My dog's bugging me with the nose. I'm sorry, hair. Hopefully the sound is fine now. Let me just bop down. I use external. Volume is okay if I wear headphones, but you're always too quiet on my laptop speakers. Yeah, it's probably the laptop. I'm not sure how that all works on there. When I listen to it here, I've got external speakers. We've actually got it hooked up to a surround sound, and I've got a subwoofer and all that stuff here. But everything's hooked up into the same system. It's just how it is. Our projection TV goes to through the server, and anyway, everything pretty much goes to the same basic place. Hang on, let me get back up here, because I was right in the middle of that, and I'm not sure where we left that at. Yeah, with Whatnot, again, I've looked at people, I've checked numbers and the whole works, because I'm anal retentive about the data. So I've dug into Whatnot. It's new, and that is a big key factor. Some of what I see, some items go for more than they would on eBay. Other items are just pretty much giveaways, and so you've got to be very selective. I ran a record auction, the first auction I had. It went okay. Those in Patreon saw dollar for dollar what we did. I think they fixed the issue with the payment processing or whatever, because you're supposed to get so much. We got our first five weeks free on final values, but we still paid the processing fee. So I think they've fixed that. So in all honesty, I mean, we made $300 in 3 hours or whatever it was total. So it's less than I would normally make doing something else, but I didn't have to invest any of the other time into listing it, I guess, is the big saving grace. Lesson learned. I could have cut down the time it took us to show items in a third, had the same amount of money in like an hour or less if we were a little quicker at showing it. Hopefully, Marty, you like that too, Fire. But learning experience first shot. Next time I'll know. We're not going to put up a bunch of titles or anything else like that because it didn't seem to matter. Soul and R&B records don't sell, at least what I saw. The clientele wasn't there, I guess, that's interested in it. And I would never sell a high value disc on like that. I would have to put it on a bin. I'd get the most money for it on eBay, to be honest with you. Some of the other records that we did sell, we sold Pink Floyd Santana and stuff like that. Those did very well. I was happy with it. I might have received a little more on eBay, but the fees would have been, 6% more. So by the time I take into account the photograph time for records, I do 5 photos on a record, uploading all that stuff. I probably came out about the same on the records, in all honesty. Not great on a few of them. Some of them, the jazz ones, didn't do super. But I've got so many records. I don't really, at this point, I think, have anything into anything I sell these days, mostly. So I'll put a post up too for those who want to nab some merchandise. I'll do some like 150 card lots. I'll do some buttons. I'll do some rock and roll records. 80s probably is mostly, and 60s is what I think I got in there, mostly pulled. And then I've got a specialty when I want to do a autograph auction for LP records for anybody who's in the country. I don't know how the country crowd is on whatnot, but we ended up pulling. I didn't even auction off any of the dubstep or any of the reggae or any of that stuff, as I had some 12-inch singles we were going to do, but the crowd just wasn't there for it. So I see, like with cutting it off, like with Jackass Retro was saying, you can just stop it. There's no time frame. You run it, as long as you auction something off, I don't know what they could ever say. There's no required. And if you're doing like a random day, you can just throw up whatever, and that's what they do. They'll just open up packs of cards and auction off what they find in a brand new pack of card, which I thought was weird. But this is all coming from whatnot, from what I see, is a carryover from the Asian auction markets, because that's the number one auction platform in Japan, China, anywhere over in that area, is the live short 30-second, minute-long auctions, or Jackass Retro had a 3-minute he was doing, which was an interesting. I didn't thought about that. That might be something good too. It just depends, I guess, again, who's on, what time it is. Nighttime, what I came up with after it is nighttime works best. 7 o'clock or after would be my recommendation. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday seemed okay, and Saturday and Sunday were pretty much good as long as you were past 4 or 5. Again, that's my calcs. I would never do it in the daytime from the numbers I saw, even though that's what they're pushing. When I signed up too, they gave me I've got a calendar access where I can mark my vinyl records and stuff like that onto the Whatnot's own thing, and they'll give push-outs for my thing, but it has to be in the daytime. And that's what was kind of like, I'd hate to run it daytime, set it up, have someone here to help write and move and stuff. I think Whatnot's a 2-person thing for the most part, if you're not just doing cards or something simple. But we're going to speed it up next time. I'm going to cut the time down in 2/3 of the time off, and we'll be able to up the dollar per hour ratio. That's what you want to do. If you're going to run something like a live auction like on Whatnot, eBay's probably going to do them. I heard rumbles that eBay might come up, do their own version of that. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it at all. In fact, I really highly think they will. But running it through quickly, getting the stuff up quick, I think that's the key, and as much volume as you can get so you can keep your... I go for $400 an hour list, or hopefully sell would be even better. But anyway. Let's see here. Let's pop back down. I don't think social media is essential. It helps, but it isn't required. With Whatnot, some of the questions that were asked on when you apply for it were related to your social media presence, and I thought that seemed like they were almost steering it. They want to get attention to it. I think they're bombing and trying to get folks who do have a presence, in my opinion. I'm not saying that's good or bad. That's a good marketing ploy, so I might have done something similar if it was me, but that's what I think they were doing right now, is hitting whoever's a big heavy hitter. It took us weeks for them to even... I forgot about it. I said, I'm done with it. I'm not going to mess with it. But then they did reach out. They actually called or something, if I'm not mistaken. And then I had a video chat and more conversations even after that. But I asked a ton of questions, and I didn't want to... I don't never trust anybody anymore these days. Very untrusting of anybody, it seems. That was louder. So I maybe somehow one of the kids or somebody's messed with the microphone. I'll have to double check. You are same and loud enough. He said his end. You are good, Don. Okay, thank you, Candace. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I'm not calling out. Kelly's here. Alternate motives with Carrie, lurking Caro, Sean Marie Man. I'm sure I missed somebody. Johanna Leo, Janet B, Eric, the disgruntled octopus. I've always liked that name. Mental State Music, a big music fan. Matt Jake, how you guys doing? And Mr. Hale. Hey, Bob. Jackass Retro, of course. We already got that one in there. Let me pop back down here. Yeah, lots are better in some cases. The records, though, I have to admit, the rock records, all I've watched research-wise, I've watched a bunch of auctions. I haven't been on a single auction at all and whatnot. That's just not my thing. I don't buy stuff like that, and I get so many pick stuff that I don't. Last time I wanted a record, I found it like within a month, and I wasn't even looking for it. So I don't buy stuff for collectibles. I mean, I run across so much crap these days that I don't mess with it too much. But yeah, I'll be selling some buttons. They'll be mostly British, not worth like what Americans. Maybe I'll throw a couple American lots together. I don't know. I've got a ton of buttons, and there's no way. We calculated at the rate we're listing them, we don't even have 10% up of what we have in possession, and that's a year and a half. So if I don't even have 10% a year and a half up, we are probably the biggest button seller on eBay, military-wise. I think we broke 5,000 lots of buttons up, which I think was the mark I needed. I haven't checked, so maybe the other sellers put up a few hundred more. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look, but that puts us number one in all of eBay for military buttons. So that would, if I multiplied that times 10, that'd be 15 more years for me to get all those buttons up at the rate we do. Because we rotate merchandise. I don't sell. I'm not just gonna have somebody here list just buttons all day long. We took photos of a whole. Well, I didn't. My youngest son took photos yesterday. So you'll be seeing a lot of smalls and toys. Those marks are going up. Some old cars. I've got some really cool political ribbons from 1870s, 1880s, campaign ribbons, Republican, Democratic, some oddball. There's a couple wig pieces in there. Geez, I got a whole mess of Christmas cards in yesterday. I haven't even looked through them. My wife had to unbox them, honestly, first, because usually I nab them up first. I'm like here, so she's not always. It's not like I yank them out of my wife's hands, but. Mostly rock sold 15 of the 20 I had up. Marty, I've been doing another for sure. Yeah, I'm going to do another one for sure too. Just records, but I want to put a mix and just see what happens with oddball stuff. I'll probably start it with records, run it as an estate sale listing, and then go from there, I guess, because I want to do a broad range. Hey Sandy, how you doing? A rural squirrel. I had a fun one on whatnot. I'll do more too. I think I missed some conversation. Yeah, flipping goodness. How are you doing? Shopify just did some major updates and more to come in the fall. Yeah, I did see Shopify's updates. Thank you for calling that out. I try to keep up on the stuff that affects us, and I've had a Shopify we've been paying for a while here now. I'm with everything going on. I finally get ahead, it seems, and then we get hit with flooding. Water came in from the ground through a sliding door when the drain clogged up. So anyway, I lost a box or two of records. I lost a whole bunch of patterns. I think that's about we lost maybe 30 comic books. So we're gonna blow out all the rando comic books too. Man, we've got a lot of inventory, and I need to clear up about a 12 by 12 by 12 section of inventory. So that's, I don't know, 50 boxes, 60 boxes worth of stuff. I want that space back for some projects we got going on. I'm going to have Benny from Tenacious Toys back on the channel. We're going to be talking about his predictions for what's hot, what should be good items for toys coming up season. He goes to the New York Toy Fair, so he would be a good guy to talk to, and he's done it for years. He's out of town. He's got a busy schedule just like I do, and the car accident set me back, and he's got a family reunion. He's out of town for next week, so it'll be the following week. I think the first or second week in July. I'm gonna have him back on here. I'm gonna have another round table too. I need to post something up for that too. Let's see where we at. Brandy Hudgens, how you doing? How you doing? A deal finder, welcome. Do you feel like the Whatnot auctions are different than eBay auctions as far as results? I mean, you start with the lowest you'd be happy with getting right. Ulterior motives with Carrie. From what I see, most people suggest starting Whatnot off at the dollar. I can't do that with stuff that I know I can get $9 for or higher. So we did a bunch of records at $9 starting. I haven't done it. I've only done the one, and I've watched a lot. Just again, while I'm doing other stuff, I just have them playing in the background, and I kind of check their solds at the end of the day. Is what I do, because you don't have to sit there and watch it to know what happens. Who cares how it progresses the auction? I don't watch any of that stuff. I just want to know what was sold, what was their list total of listings that they like. Let's say they had 50 that they ran, and they only sold 40, like folks were talking about in the chat. That's what matters to me. We listed 76 or 77, I want to say, listings, and we sold 25, but I didn't auction all those 77 off. I think we chopped off 12 or 13 that we didn't do, so that brings it down to what, 60, 64, 63 we ran. So we, like 40%, I think, was the amount we sold on there, which I'm happy with. Dollar wise was again 327 total. You don't see the postage, so that's less postage. That's just the amount that you collect. And anyway, once you get your first one, it instantly allows you to go ahead and set up a PayPal transfer, and it's in your PayPal account. No extra fee that I saw in, like, I don't know, it was seconds. I mean, I was already bouncing because we just purchased the other car for the kids, and I was right there, and it was instant. So it was okay. The transfer is very painless, in all honesty. You don't have to give them a bunch of information. Tax-wise, as long as they have the ledger, I don't care if they shoot out a tax report. I'll just throw it into a spreadsheet specifically for Whatnot. That'll be auto-linked into my main P&L, and it's all in Excel. That's how I do our taxes. And then it gives me one sheet at the end of the day. It says I made this much here for all the platforms and sites we sell. And this makes it, what, 14, I think, our 14th revenue stream. Now let's talk about the topic. Hang on, I got a question from someone. Let's get down to Dave, Midwest Picker, so he does have a question. Stephanie Holton, how are you doing? Arcus Salvage, how are you doing? Woke up at 9 a.m. Oh, that's late for me. I'd feel weird. Way back in the day, I did one auction at $1 and it sold for $1. The end. Thank you. Yeah, I don't do any. I don't like doing any of those. Even on eBay, a lot of people used to do 99 cents. Oh, it's going to sell for this, that. I don't list anything on eBay cheaper than I would be my bottom line. Whatnot may be a different. I don't know. We're going to have to see. The stuff that I've been selling, I've got so much inventory. I don't literally have anything into it. I'm not the typical purchaser though. We buy pretty much only these days, other than say that big huge flea market. But that was more fun. But only in bulk. It's the best way to do it. It always gets my cost to the lowest I can possibly get it. Question: have you considered selling any of your art, like the astronaut frog postcard or other items, on Whatnot? Nah, I'm. To be honest with you, my vision is I've had so much. I'm not selling any more originals in case I can never draw again because of my. I don't want to get into it. Let's just say I'm very frustrated with the eye issues, and it's not gotten better, and all these, it's going on 3 years, and I'm losing hope that there's a fix for it. Let's just put it that way. I have thought about it though. I do have postcard. In fact, I think all the postcard. I think we did sell the whole pack of postcards. Yeah, I've got a whole. I've done thousands of drawings in the past prior to my vision issues. I've got sketchbook after sketchbook because that's what I used to do with my free time. So I might do some more postcards or go and sell some other ones. Most of the time when I do something lately, I just have a print run printed, and then store around here or something will sell them. I'll sell them to them at a decent price, so I make a quick couple $100 off of it. I own the rights, of course, and then they deal with selling them. Like head shops and stuff like that, they usually do fairly well. Or if you do them for like a local business. I've done artwork. I used to work at a newspaper / magazine when I was in high school. I was on the yearbook staff, and I did the illustrations for Start High School's school newspaper. Chicago, one of the Chicago albums came out, and I did the drawing of the cover, and that was used in my high school newspaper. I did layouts, designs for the yearbook, and I worked for a publishing company for 2 or 3 years. I did that at the same time. Then I worked at the movie theater on the weekends. I worked every day of the week, I think, when I was in high school back in those days. I don't know what everybody else does, but that was me. If I wanted to pay for my car, my parents didn't have a lot of money, so that's how it worked. Yeah, there's Marty as well too, saying that. Hope you like that fire, Marty. If you have any issues or anything else, just let me know. I'll make it right with you if there is something. I had a lot of good feedback from the records we sold. We tried to be flat out plain, just this is it, anyway. Kelly, AP, if you don't have anything into it, then why not try dropping the price? Not saying you have to do $1, but even $5 might be more attractive. Because I've got staff. I understand your point, Kelly. Just don't take this as a criticism at all. But from my point of view, I could have somebody else take photos, and they could do a whole bunch of records all at the same time, and then the next day list a whole bunch of records. So it's I'm paying $12-14 plus commission or something. So for me, I can afford to list $9 take home, or $9.99 is what I'd get for some of those records. I don't mind selling them for $8 or $9 on Whatnot, because then I don't have to worry about the extra time and photo list and stuff. Remarkably, you do sell a bunch to the same person. One person bought 6 of those records. Again, I showed those in Patreon. I got that video up if you haven't watched it yet, that shows how they were grouped and all that stuff. So you can see exactly what we sold, every single one, and the dollar for dollar what we sold on that, for those in the Patreon page. Again, if I can get the money out of it without really a ton of effort, that's in our range. So if I list it if I can take home $9.99, I'm going to list it. Worst case scenario, on some postcards, sometimes I may do items that I can list for $9.99 and then sell for $6.99, only because a person here can list 40 plus postcards. So if you're listing 40 plus at $9.99, that's my $400 per hour per anybody in this building. So if I want to get some more inventory up and see some more action on my account, I want to run 400 up, I just have people list 40 postcards an hour. If I have 2 people listing, in an hour, we're getting 80 new items up in 1 hour. And if like me or somebody who's done a ton of stuff, you can almost get like 63 postcards up in an hour. I got videos, live without cuts, showing me easily being able to list those quantities. It's not some crazy thing. You can actually, in an hour, scan, duplex scanner, both sides of a postcard or paper or 8x10s or any of that stuff through the duplex scanner in the same hour. It takes, like in a minute, you can scan, 20 or 30 postcards, maybe 50 postcards in a minute with the scanner. I can't even feed them in. I just have to set a stack on there. Just drop the DPI down to 75, and it just flies through there. So, that's the easiest thing to list, is a piece of paper. So that's what we sent around. That's why I kind of hated to route somebody to taking photos of objects again, like the marks. But I want to show some people. I've had a lot of people in Patreon specifically asking, well, I have a long-term plan. I might have stuff that I don't list, even though I bought it last year, that hasn't even been listed yet. Like massive quantities of stuff. Those buttons, as I said, we've had in-house for 1.5 years. I've had 2 massive assortments of comic books. And I'm talking a lot of comic books with Golden Age, a ton of Golden Age, like Captain Midnight and stuff, that I bought 1 year and 2 months ago, I think was the date on them. And I've got another purchase right now for some all 40s and all 50s, nothing newer than 50s comic book assortment that was an inheritance from somebody I know from his father, I think it was. So, I need to clear some space for that too still. We have sold some of the Golden Age to some specific collectors. I do have a list for some things that I always just, hey, you want this? I just picked up this, or I got a first appearance, or I've got this card or whatever, and it's pretty much an instantaneous, here's your payment. I drop it in the mail, so I don't pay a fee on those. Anytime you can do that without paying a fee, it's always great. Somebody else told me maybe I should run them on YouTube, run one of the auctions on here for merchandise and stuff. I don't know how well those do is the only thing. And then you'd have to worry about, somebody charging back or trying to screw around with you. At least through Whatnot, everybody's verified, I guess is the point. Is it worth the 8% to have it all more organized and, on a spreadsheet instantly, and I don't have to type and all that stuff other than the title? I think it probably is. I don't mind giving up 8% or something for, simplicity and time saving. At the end of the day, it's time, and $400 an hour you want to list or hire. That's us here. I don't know about anybody else, but so if I've got 4 people listing, that's $1,200 I want listed in that hour with 4 people, $400 a person. That's what you want. The wife and I have done it so much. The wife lists like $600 or $700 an hour, probably, or better most of the time, and so do I usually. Where are we at? I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch back up to this. I'm terrible on. Ulterior motives with carry. Yeah, I don't. The eye issues just. I've got vertical diplopia with blur in this eye, which means I've got double vision, and I've got. You can't wear contacts because it doesn't correct it. So sometimes, depending on the morning, I've got what does it have? Prism lenses in my glasses, and my vision fluctuates in this eye. So every morning I never know what it's going to be sometimes. And so I've got like 4 pairs of glasses and like 5 pairs of contacts. So I have to, sometimes it's hit or miss as to what's there. And I've done the CT scans. We've done all those kind of tests and stuff. And they've done mapped my cornea. They laser scanned my eye for the retina. I've been to 7 doctors, including university and stuff. I've come to my rope's end with the vision issues. Have you ever come across golden replicas, Levi or Roberts? Yeah, I don't mess with them too much. I missed one, a deal finder. I set auctions at what I want for the product. I see people pay to get rid of collectibles on eBay. Must be secret business model. Yeah, if I don't get what I want for them, I'm not gonna. Again, I can list them anywhere. Discogs is super easy. Those same records, I wouldn't list it less than I would get it on several other sites. I can get $9 out of those records easy, So in fact, I'd get more, but take home would be about $9. Those prices I were listing at would be like basically my take home price. So if I can list it on Whatnot for $9, it sells for $9, I'm fine. If I list on eBay for $12 or $14, it sells for $9, and by the end of the day, that's my take home basically. I guess is the point. El Stunner, welcome. Good to have you in the show. Robert Charles Manson, how you doing today? What's up? Tri-City Smash, have you been forcibly swapped to the new eBay listing page? If so, what are your thoughts? I've seen it. We tested it way back when they first put it out, before they made it mandatory once you flipped over. Today I went to do end and sell similar, and the new end and sell similar I was forced into. I have no option whatsoever. It's terrible. Before you could see a lot more on the screen, and now you got to scroll and scroll and scroll. And now with the setups, I couldn't just click on the one thing I wanted to do. They were all shown visibly. So if you want to change payments on, let's say I do 200 at a time. So if I'm selling similar 200 and I want to do something, I can instantly change all of them or whatever I click on it. Now you got to slide down and do the drop down for everything over and over and over and over. It's like twice as long to do the same steps you had to do before. It's painful. And every time they come up with a little box comment, I say the same thing. I doubt they'll fix it. I even said I doubt you'll listen to the sellers because they never seem to do it. But terrible setup in my opinion. It's one of it just keeps getting longer. I look at Whatnot, it's easy. I look at Amazon's easy. Oh, before I forget, Amazon, oh, for Patreon videos this week, we're going to go back over Amazon. I had some personal questions on what to list and how to list, not what to list, I should say, but how to list on Amazon. I'll show you a listing. We'll put a listing together for Amazon. I'll go over all the boxes that are necessary on your Amazon listings. And then we're also going to go for Patreon again. Patreon, because I see quite a few patrons in here. I'm going to revisit self-similar, my whole step, week by week. I'm going to do a whole week setup. I'll post a copy of my schedule for how I end self-similar, run auction, or run my markdown and sales. You know, I'll tell you what we've come up with, because we've been trying it and trying it and trying it and trying it and trying it. And you know, we've been running stuff constantly. I've got auctions running, or not auctions, sales and markdown running right now. We're able to lower the amount of discount, so we're giving less discount away by 6% over the prior week or prior run of discounts. So sales are still right there. I'm still comfortable with sales. They're coming in fairly decent, so I'm not going to complain. You know, I think at this point, if you're getting sales with everything going on, that's pretty decent, as long as, you know, they're enough to survive on. Next month's going to be the worst month. There's just no way around it. I'm just going to put it out there right now. The 4th of July week is usually one of the slower ones, because most people are having fun. Their family activities, outdoor activities. They're paying money to buy fireworks, or, you know, beer, cookouts, camping, whatever. All that stuff's going to be hot. So there will be a dive for 2 weeks. Week before, which starts very shortly, and then the week after. Again, that's how it's been for the last, I don't know how many years. We track all that stuff, so I thought I'd give a holler and a warning. Don't panic. It's not the end of the world. It's just what happens every year. If you did this last year, or you just started off, write yourself, take a spreadsheet and put the days of the week, or, you know, the days of the year on it. Write down when it's slow, what was going on that day. If it's a holiday, write that down on there. And do it year by year, and you're going to see a pattern across the entire year, all year round. You'll know when it dips, when it dives, especially after you've done it 3, 4, 5. If you've done it for 10 years, you've got some solid data there on what your business is going to be basically doing. You do projections on a daily basis, and you can kind of float right on through there and set it. When sales start to drop, you run some sales. You might do this. You might list a few extra items. You might pull something you were waiting to list just because it'll sell quick, just to boost the sales. Worst case scenario on stuff like that, that's what we always do, and it always fixes the problem. You know, I'm a little diverted from eBay because we got other stuff going on, but that's usually what fixes it for us all the time. I was recently forced the new bulk edit page. Yeah, not a fan of it either. Yeah, hit the thumbs up. I'm terrible on saying that. I got 172 people in house. I got 37 thumbs up. Slam that thumbs up there if you're enjoying the conversation. The bulk edit page is honestly the least of the worst parts. Yeah, I know. The whole thing's, I don't like it at all. I don't like the new setup. I backed out in like 2 minutes of looking at the way the minute I realized that there's going to be drop downs, and it was taking so much longer. Click here, and it was just a nuisance. You know, self-similar is what we do most of the time. If I'm listing, we're just pulling an existing listing these days from us. I don't list from anybody else's listing. I never do the sell one like this ever. Metadata, we went and confirmed it. Metadata ties and carries with it. And there's probably 3 or 4 other people. I know there's one in-house right now that actually has done the same thing that I did. And they sent me some shots and stuff. So I know they did just what I did. I didn't tell them what to do. It's just logical. But so we come up with the same conclusion. The meta stuff goes with it. I don't ever do sell one like it. I'll just, worst case scenario, you open up their listing and you copy whatever details. You can cut and paste. You know, who cares? Cut and paste it, but I never use it. I do a fresh listing, either that, or I'll do a listing from an identical item in my store, or at least a category-specific item. If the metadata carries over for one of my items, it's not going to kill me, especially if it's in the same category, because it'll be carrying over the same basic meta. I mean, it'll be the same information, basically, that's already there. So it might actually help in those cases. Is there value in... Hang on, I just lost my whole feed. Just bounced way up. Hang on, let me get back to where we were. Is there value in golden replica? Yeah, we just touched on that. Not really. I do 30 postcards an hour comfortably. But yeah, if you pre-sort by price, you can do 50, 60 easily. Yeah, that's 100% true. And we do pre-sort everything. Usually what I'll do is I'll throw a whole big stack out there. I'm sorry, my dog, I've got hair floating, and Jack has been a wonderful dog, but he had an infection. We got him, and we're having him, his teeth all done, which is, they have to put him to sleep, not, just for the operation. And then he's has an infection, and he has parasites. So we've spent a ton. And loving dog, he's got nose, and you can always smell the medicine on anything. It's been a hassle trying to get him to take anything. The wife's to her end, but we love the dog to death. So anyway, I'm sorry, I get sidetracked. Let's pop on back down here. I've listed 30 postcards so far since your show has been on as of 7:30. Well, see, there you go. You can list a lot in an hour. 63, I think, was the most, and that's including the scan time in that hour. So if we're going to do postcards, we scan them and do them right away. They'll grab a stack of them, and that's about the time it takes. In a minute, we have an Epson DS for double-sided 510. Anyone 510 or newer I've used most or seen, or I've talked to people, and I would trust any of those. And they work great. A duplex, I got 2 of them. I bought a second one for a backup. I love those things so much. There's one sitting next to a PC, something 24/7. So if we get home with something, I flick the power switch, and I can just drop something in. I can have it listed in like a minute and a half from the time I walk in the door. And sometimes we've done that even, It's a shame there wasn't a way to scan stuff from your phone that looked quality. I know you can take a photo and all, but I like the scanner idea better. I like to keep copies on certain our server. What is your idea about saving the good stuff as a pension plan? Like to hear your thoughts. I've got a bank security box full of like the best primo stuff in here. Like the I got autographs in there, like up the yin yang. We've probably got about 300 or 400 autographs, really nice ones too. Like John Barrymore, I'm keeping that one. Robert Mitchum, we're keeping. I got John Wayne's. I've got 2 Elvis. That stuff like that, between that and buttons and stuff. We've got some Colonials now in the collection. I've got some really nice early Continental Army stuff like that. So those are in the permanent collection. Paper items, I've saved some really nice clipper ship and California gold mining stuff. We've got 2, and I've got some good stuff that I set aside, but for the most part, I can do a lot with the money in the bank, and get in not just interest, but get some good investments going. Best bet for us is we reinvest most of our profits, unless we're collecting it at the time. I don't usually worry about stuff like that, because the money is well suited if the markets crash or something. I'd rather have the money. There's only been one time, and that's with like the 90s Marvel universe. I wished I would have kept all of what we had, because the prices have gone crazy, but it's a bubble. I'm sure they're going to pop again, because they used to be really hot. But anyway, where are we at? RCQ, how are you doing? What was your favorite sale on eBay in the last year? My favorite sale on eBay in the last year. Geez, you're asking a huge question, because I wouldn't even begin to. I don't know. Man, I couldn't tell you. We saw so many oddball things. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'll give you an interesting one. We purchased a whole stack of. They were from like the Sunday newspaper from 1942, 43. And they are posters, like military and famous people. I paid just like $4 or $5, and I thought, I don't know if we're going to do very well, because they're trimmed on 2 sides. But out of that already, we've made like $420 some odd out of the ones we've sold, and that was only like 10% of the lot we purchased. That was my favorite, only because I figured I wasn't going to make a lot of money. I listed a few thinking they're not going to sell, and then they sold for like $30 and $40 for these things. I could have made a profit at selling them each for $2 a piece. So I ended up listing them all. I expected I'd have to dump them into lots, but I think that was one of my most interesting and most enjoyable, only because I underestimated what I originally figured. I thought maybe $10. I listed them for a couple of them for $57.50. The Glenn Miller one I think I listed for $57.50, and then The actresses and the military generals. Joe Louis in there I thought would be the first one who would sell, because there's a Joe Louis in his military uniform. I think there's 2 of them in there, and I thought that'd be the first one. I put him up high, and it was all the other ones that sold first. I thought for sure Joe Louis would have been the one. The arena's right down. It's 30 minutes from my house almost. Yeah, Tri-Cities Smash. I hate the extra clicks. It's a nuisance. It's totally counterproductive to what their whole point was in my book. And it is infuriating that that's what they're doing. In other places, it's easier. The longest process to list on any platform you're on is eBay. I can list one on Amazon in far less time. Discogs, if you're listing on Discogs, you don't need photos. If there's the items already on Discogs, all you need to do is pretty much add one in for yourself under your account. That's basically it. It's ridiculously easy. I think I got back to where I was. Peldon Profits, good evening, good evening. I hold all my valuable stuff like savings account, not even posted a RPC yet, and I have a bunch. I have bags of Goodwill toys that are years old, and I've not opened them. A deal finder, yeah, I used to do that, but I've got, I'm not trying to exaggerate. We've probably got $5 million worth of back stock. And again, I'm not exaggerating. I have $1,175,000 worth of listed items value. That's the list price in just the store I share with everybody. And the majority of that probably, again, that's $5 million in list price. I'm not trying to make it seem like some big amount, but that's literally, and I'm not exaggerating. You see the kind of stuff I sell, anybody who's watched this. That's just sitting here. That I don't even know how I could hire 10 people and it would take us years to get it all up, even at that point. I mean, we've broken down the hours and tried to figure out how long, but I forgot where we were going with that. Yeah, so when we started to do that, we started to save everything, and then we're like, oh my gosh. And if it's really valuable and it's in a lot and it's the best thing in the lot, we always sell it. Unless it's something I really, really, really like. If it's a Weeble, the wife would keep it. If it was, say, she likes the 1940s little aprons, she's got a ton of frilly little aprons that she buys them all. She's got dozens and dozens of them, but stuff like that we'd keep. I'd keep some buttons probably if they're really good buttons and stuff. But other than that, we sell the best stuff usually, which pays for the lot. So the inventory at the end of the day becomes free. And I think that's the most important aspect. It's hard to break apart from your business to personal aspect for some things like that. So I have a policy. If I bought it to sell, it's sold. If I bought it for an investment, that's a different story. But then that's my own personal money that I'm investing into it. It's not a business. I'm going to hang it on the wall. I've got like Dell 4-color Space Cadet. I mean, I bought them personally just to hang on the wall in my office area where my art supplies sit. And that's mine. I bought it. I love those things. I bought every one. I got the first. I've got the whole 9 comic series as well. They're all on the wall. And then I've got like Spaceman from Dell and stuff like that too. I love the sci-fi 50s painted covered comic books. Golden Key has some really awesome ones. Metal Man, I'm a big fan, and what's the other one? Vampirella. I love Vampirella. I've got, I think, all but like 3 issues of the comic series. So that's about the only thing I keep these days. Again, we do have some things in a bank vault, but that's totally a different aspect. You gotta where are we at? You can skip the drop downs. I'll have to look, because when I checked it out, you couldn't. There's no other option on any of that to skip any of the drop downs. There was nothing. You couldn't go back or revert to the old way at all. You were stuck with the drop downs, and that's it. I know for sure on the when I was doing sell some, there was no way to get out of that. There was no, hey, I'm going to back out of this. There's no way to do anything other than drop downs on that part. They have not changed unless Evan listed just like an hour ago, and I didn't even think to ask. I wasn't paying enough attention. I'll ask tomorrow. I'll let you know tomorrow on my side. Maybe I'll do a video on some shortcuts after I look through it. Got to be careful using collectibles as a pension plan. Think if you've had that idea with Hummels, Precious Moments, and Beanie Babies, you'd have lost your shirt and undies left out. Yeah, I got you, Alfonso. That's another point. As I said, there's bubbles. So what's hot right now may not be hot in 10 years. That's another reason why, like, I had the George magazine. Let's give you a perfect example. George magazine, the issue that I had was selling for over $4,000, and some issues were selling close to $10,000 for the same exact issue that I had. Now, I got it at the end of when it was super, super, super hot, and I didn't realize it. I thought that I was just going to average magazines, and I probably had it in-house for 2 or 3 months, maybe. I don't remember the whole length, but the point of it is, if I would have sold it immediately, I would have made thousands more. I waited, and we ended up getting like $1,400. And I only had $1 into that issue as well as the other ones. But the point of it being, if I would have sold it right away, I would have got the most amount of money I would have ever gotten from that magazine if I sold it immediately. There's just because it lost popularity after the elections and all that other crap. So it dropped from $4,200 bare bones minimum down to $1,500. So I was happy with 12. It was $1,284. I remember that to the T because I said, let me just take it. It was an offer, I think, and I think my original offer, I added up for 3 or 4 weeks maybe to get that amount, and I turned down some cheaper offers too, mind you. I turned down 800. I think I turned down maybe a 925 or something too. 3 or 4 to 600s, and I think one $75. But anyway, we resell Arcus Salvage. We resell in Australia. There are 6 week periods several times a year where sales will dip to almost zero. Wow. Yeah, summer around here it's hit or miss for some people. To be honest with you, since we switched and got rid of clothing, got rid of the new books and all that kind of stuff, the collectibles hold their ground. I swear to you, the collectibles hold their ground better than any other category. I'm not saying you might not see a dip or something, but they hold their ground far better than any other category I've been in because you have to have extra money to buy the collectibles in the first place. So they have extra money throughout the year. Chances are, even if stuff's going on, they already have extra money. And a collector, like, I'm a fiend when it comes to like certain types of buttons, or I like animation stuff, so we've got thousands of animation cells here as well and stuff like that. I like film and 35mm slides, so I got tens of thousands of those. If you want it, you're going to buy it. I mean, that's my point. And if you get some good stuff, it sells all year round for decent prices. I sold a Victorian milk glass piece that I've had up forever for full price, $175, and it's been up for a year and a half. It sold in summer. I sold a printer's card the same day for $175 as well. Same day I sold a couple $50 items, $75 item, a bunch of cheap. I mean, it's been fairly steady. I mean, we've only had a dip here, a day there, and again, if you run sales, you work your store, you list new items, and sell some, or a few here, a few there every day or something. Every other day would be perfect, but you're going to get some action. Fix old photos, change around your titles, the most important words, push them to the left on your title. So if someone's scanning by their phone, I do test searches on eBay to see if my items show up, and I'll test and see what my competitors are doing. I got a list of people who sell the same thing as I do, and I think everybody should at least try and track down the big wigs in your categories that you play in to know where you stand. Like with military buttons, if any collector of military buttons has seen my listings, there's no way on earth that every single military collector has probably seen some of my listings if they're into buttons, because I've just got too many of them. They're scattered over the entire area, and I've got more than anybody else at this point. I've several other categories. That's the way. That's one way to dominate, to get more sales, is to have mass quantity of the same items in there. Postcards are one of the hardest ones, just because there's so many postcards up on eBay. To get dominance in postcards, you'd need like over 100,000. I'm pretty sure there's a couple people who are right at that 100,000 listing mark on there. I know Popeye used to have a ton of postcards. I don't know if he's just totally given up on eBay, but that's what I saw in one of his whatnots. What is the metadata? Can you explain that a little more? Basically, it's like search page info kind of thing that's tied to a listing. If you look at the coding for like a web, even this page, you can look at the coding on there. Just hitting a few keys on the computer on your keyboard. And there's other stuff that's tied in there that you don't necessarily see. Like you can tag photos, you can bury metadata that, like if the photos of Thomas Jefferson, you can put data that only the search engine's going to see embedded into the photo, basically into the file, into the box, the HTML that ties the page together. So it's like coding. It's not really coding. I don't want to get like over someone's head. I'm not trying to. I don't know. I know what it is. It's just hard to kind of explain it with not getting you lost. It's just basically baggage. It's luggage that carries along with a listing. So if it was listed by someone else and they had bad results or bad whatever, you're carrying someone's luggage, basically. I guess that's the basics of it. It's stuff that the other person attracted to that listing. Some of that stuff may go with it. Now, I've had conversations with a few folks, and they've shared some things, and I do believe that they're being honest. They've had chats with some execs at eBay about the metadata carryover from the sell one like it option. And we've talked about this before. I think I've even had a conversation with a couple of folks about this on a video even, I want to say, once before. But I try to have clean listings. The whole point of ending and sell similar is the clean listings. If you're pulling a listing from someone else by doing sell one like it, then you're dragging whatever they have. So if their listing's terrible, it's pushed down, you may have some negative impact on it when you carry it over to your own listing. So that's my take on it. And there's metadata on everything, mind you. Allison Curtis, how are you doing? Good evening. Metadata would be any information you can't see under the hood. That's another, basically, yeah. It's hidden in the code. Again, you can see source code here in Chrome very, very easily. Yeah, with postcards too. Let's give you an example on why I wouldn't hang on to certain items. In some, here's a truthful one that just came up, and there's probably news articles you can go back and read on this one. There's some Pepsi and Coke signs. They're they're the enamel signs from the 40s and 50s. Now those are always very expensive. They're very rare. We've even had some that were mass found, but they sell for top dollar. Well, not too long ago, someone found boxes of them in a warehouse, and they're still covered with that waxy stuff. It's all crumbled and everything, but they were boxed, mint condition. So what happens when 500 mint condition signs hit the market? What happens to all the other signs that are out there? The prices plummet, and these are mint. They're I mean, primo, super duper quality ones. So when something like that happens, it kills any ones that we would be selling, because we wouldn't have mint ones. Once I was lucky enough, I bought these off eBay. I'll give you an eBay story here for a second. I collect buttons. Regiment of Riflemen buttons showed up in an auction in New England. I won't tell you who it was, because the person who found them is someone semi-known for those in the military. He's helped with a couple movies, but he found them in a barn, and he found them in the production. It was a leather bag all rotted out, and he bunches of them. I ended up buying 20 of these things from this guy, knowing that he had a bag of them. Now, he was parsing them out, and he sold them to me for a good price, but I couldn't sell them, blow them out. I had to do what he did, otherwise I wouldn't have got the deal. So we would only sell one at a time. When I ran out, and when he made, I don't know how much he made a ton of money, because I paid him pretty good money for them, and then I ended up getting 5x instantly when I was listing them. But we, again, list them really slowly, and that's a perfect example. When he finished and the prices were going down, he just dumped them. He dumped them in bulk quantity, and it killed him for a little while until all the collectors got him, and then new collectors couldn't find him anymore, and the price went back up. But that kind of thing happens, so you got to be careful. When I buy bulk of stuff, I don't list them all at the same time. You never flood the markets. It would be stupid if I had 300 or something, and it's rare, and there's only one that shows up maybe once a month on eBay, of whatever it is, and I listed 50 of them as a multi-quantity auction. I'd kill the value instantly. I'd never get the value out of them. Luckily, with buying like 300 or something like that, a couple of them can pay for the entire purchase. So by the time I'm selling the third or fourth or fifth one of those, it's almost all profit. If not all profit, less eBay fees and my income tax and all that kind of stuff on it. So at the end of the day, you always come out ahead doing that. But if you list them all like you got quantity, totally different. I've talked about it in Patreon. I've shown you how I hide how many I have on stuff. You can, those in Patreon know how to tell how many I have of stuff, even when I list one, because I code it into my listing. So any employee here can tell how many. So when we sell certain items, we got to go back in and change the quantity, and just, it's back live again. I have zero options. So when I run out of stuff, it still stays active. Again, because I do that, I have like maybe 6,000 listings that we have more than one of. And, you know, we just have, when one sells, we keep changing the quantity. We add one back in. You don't have to, you know, relist or anything. They're always active. That's one reason why I do that, because we've got so many listings where it only shows one. Excuse me, but I've actually got a bunch of them. There's a code in my listings. There's a code in my location that tells that, hey, I've got more than one of these. And I know instantly, hey, I got to change my quantity as soon as I'm done with this. And then I have a countdown hidden in my listing for those. That's my take on stuff like that. I don't try to hold on to anything. Autographs are a little different. Autographs hold their value pretty much at a high end. Like the autographs, I could send them to Heritage and get a pretty darn good penny. And if I look back from records from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20, 25, 30, the prices of key autographed, key people stays fairly high. There's always a high-end collector who's willing to buy, say, John Barrymore or Robert Mitchum's autograph for $300, $400, or $500 with a PSA on it. So I've never had a problem with that. Hang on, where are we at? I don't want to miss anything here. Hang on, I'm sorry. Somehow I guess I've lost where we're at. Hang on. Hang on, I'm sorry. I don't. Okay, I'm sorry. Here we are. I still got plenty of time. I think I've got to back where we were at. Might have unfavorable information on eBay's side for the listing. For example, if the listings are selling similar. Yeah, sell similar or sell one like it. I wish. Go on. Let's see here. There's sell-through rates attached to each listing. There could be. Who knows what eBay hides in some of it. I may not even be able to see everything. That they might have stuff like super hidden, or stuff that only shows up on the server side that we can't see, that's maybe not hidden into the Chrome viewable aspect. Yeah, for storage-wise, we're getting pretty full. Is it worth to start reselling on eBay? NS, I would say yes. I would say yes, depending on what you're planning on selling. That would just be my personal opinion. Again, I'm not giving up on them, but we're planning. I'm going to pretend that eBay is only going to be around for 2 more years. What can I come up with in the next 2 years? That's my business ploy from this point on. What could I figure out? Can I replace that? Now, if nothing happens and eBay gets better, the end of the result is I've made up an extra 40% of revenue coming in, plus I still have eBay's 40%. So that's my take on it. That's my take. Military, World War II, and so on. Road trip. Yeah, I have no interest in picking up a road trip right this moment. Appreciate the call out if it flips and chips. Right now, I've got too much. Again, we're going to be bulking out some inventory this weekend, I think. Maybe Saturday or Sunday. I'll have my son with me, and we'll do it together. But I appreciate it. Military-wise, I've got more military than I can care to do with right now. Sam Dallas, my favorite sell was a bronze John Wayne on horseback statue. It is now on display in a corporate lobby in Seattle. Well, that's a pretty neat piece. We've sold to, I've sold to famous people and all kinds of things too. If you were a one-man operation with no helpers, with 500 or 1,000 listings, but thrifting 35 times a week. With receipts, in all honesty, you can tape them to a piece of paper if that's the worst case scenario. Or what we do is I have a envelope for every month. So 2021, I've got January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And every month, all the receipts that I use to purchase go in there, and they go in there sequentially. So the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and that's where they go in. So each one's in their own separate legal size envelope. Those all go into a 8.5 by 11 manila envelope at the end of the year. That envelope's going to say 2021 receipts. And if I have to use two envelopes, which sometimes I do, it'll say, the first half of the year will be in part one, and the second half will be in part two. So they'll all be labeled the same. That's what I do with receipts. Before I put them in there, I've got accordion for every day. It's got 1 through 31. So every one of the receipts, the minute I get it, gets slapped in an accordion. If I bought it on day 5, it goes in slot 5 in that accordion. At the end of the month, all those receipts are gone through. They're thrown in an Excel spreadsheet, dollar for dollar, which category it goes into. So if I bought lights, that may be an admin expense. If I had to buy boxes, that's supplies. If I had to buy inventory, that's under inventory. Keep them all separate. Don't just jumble them all together so you know where each category is going. Again, because in your inventory, you're not paying taxes on if you're using your tax ID number, your federal tax, your EIN number. You don't pay taxes. You can avoid paying that and stuff like that. Or you'll get your state, what do you call it? Your state issued tax exempt or business exempt. I don't remember what it's called, but I sent ours into eBay and all that kind of stuff too. But so that's how we do our inventory. And I do not line by line inventory. I do not do an inventory count at the end of the year. I do not do one. We literally do a cash basis. So if I buy a purchase, 400 items in a bulk purchase for $200, I just spent $200 on inventory. On my inventory Excel sheet, I put $200 purchase. Put the location, the receipt goes in there to match it. So if somebody wants to come back, if I couldn't get a receipt from them, I've got a receipt tab. I'll write out the location I purchased it from. If it was from, say, a phone call, I'll write down the person who called me. And that's my receipt. It'll have the date, it'll have the amount, it'll have no tax paid, exempt, and whatever else the case may be. So that's pretty much it. If you file that on a daily basis, you throw them in an accordion, all your paperwork's set at the end of the month, you just calculate it out, and off you go. You throw it in an Excel spreadsheet, you hit the auto sum, and I don't even have to hit add or anything else like that. Once it's in, it's auto summed. I've already got forms. Anybody in my Patreon, you've got a copy of pretty much every form that I use in my normal business. And they all tie together, as you know. It all puts together all your numbers into one main P&L, profit and loss sheet. So at the end of the day, all my purchases, all my buys, all everything is broken down on the Excel spreadsheets. You can use it in Google Docs too. That's included in several of my levels on my Patreon. But the point is, I've done it that way. At the end of the year, those Excel spreadsheets go to an accountant. He can use those to pull the data in any way he wants. If I want to use that data, I can turn into, pie charts. I can turn into graphs, so I can graph my sales. I can also compare those year by year, so I can look at the increases from the prior year. I can compile and stack 5 of those together, and I can look at 5 years worth of data. I can, chart them out. I can do a pivot chart from there and spread it out. It's the best way, in my opinion, if you know how to use Excel or Google Chrome, the spreadsheet app there. It works fine for me. I've done it that way when I work for somebody else, and I just carried it over. Somebody showed me how to do it. I didn't Loupe, one of my best boss ever, Loupe. I'm not going to shout out his last name, but best boss ever had, and he showed me how to do a ton of stuff I had no clue on. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have that experience. So he gave me a shot, and it worked out great. Good guy, and I'd still probably do anything for that guy too. Where we at? Candace Hammer, I saw cutie aprons. Yeah, probably the same thing. She likes the fancy, like the what do you want to call it? They're real fancy, little frilly ones and stuff. She's got a ton of them. I mean, she's got a ton of them. But anyway, Kelly, Raining Retro, you can scan. I have an iPhone, and in the Notes app, it allows you to take a photo of a receipt. It automatically lays it out flat in an image. Then I keep them stored in a container. Yeah, you've got to keep your receipts for so many years afterwards. I think its standard says 3 for audit or whatever, but I think I've got probably every year's worth of receipts still to this day right here. So I'm anal retentive. I like to compare stuff. A deal finder did sell postcard notes. Yeah, I went to a museum. I like that kind of stuff. We sell to quite a few professors who are like in charge of an entire area at a major university. I'm not going to give names, but like the Raphael Tuck cards, there's 2 people that buy them religiously, constantly, all the time, and they pay really good money. They're both professors at 2 rival universities. Then I've got a couple businesses in California that buy a lot of those cards. My favorite, though, have been some not because they're politicians. We've sold to a few politicians to their offices, and then the Hollywood ones I think are pretty neat because some of the items that we've sold, there's a Dr. Pepper 4-sided dump bin that would have sat in the middle of a store that we sold, and it's been in like 3 different movies, or 2 movies and a made-for-TV movie and stuff, which I thought was really neat. We followed the company, and sure enough, I mean, they were very nice. They even sent us a picture of it on the set once, so I thought that was kind of neat. And we've sold to some famous people. In fact, I'm not going to go back into the names, but we've sold some publicity stills to the person who was in the publicity stills on a couple of occasions now. Where are we at? Metadata has a bunch of words, collect, and the code pulls what you ask. Yeah, the basics, yes. Flip-flop needs, thank you. Evernote heavily, but willing to use whatever makes sense rather than saving boxes. You have to save the receipts. A photo will not suffice for your taxes. If you get audited and you don't have the paper document to back the other stuff up, they could, push it off. You won't get that deduction. Raining Retro NC. I personally don't do sell one like it ever. I personally don't recommend it. If you've had good results with it, that's up to you. But I personally, if you ask my opinion, I would say don't do it. I don't do it. I never do it. I never, ever, 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 ever do it. Just because it could be carrying luggage. It's just like if you're at the airport. Did you let anybody else carry your baggage? I don't do that. I like the free, clear, clean listing. Or again, one of mine. Usually we list similar items in the same day and stuff, so usually one's right there. If you want to find one of your listings, you go to the hub. Let's say I want to list a poster stamp. All I do is type in poster stamp, click the little search button, and instantly I can pull any one I want from there in a second. It's the first one up of the option, so I just sort it by what I'm listing. If I'm listing a stamp, I just type in the word stamp, and then boom, I pick any one of those. All my listings are the same pretty much. I always sort by newest to oldest, except when I'm doing sell similar. When I do sell similar, it's oldest to newest. So if you're newest to oldest, it'll always be your newest listing of a poster stamp of whatever. It takes like 30 seconds for me to pull up any listing. And then if I'm pulling up a listing to use to sell something, chances are I'm selling hundreds of them, so I'll be listing for a couple hours that same one. So it's like a 30-second ordeal. I don't do templates because ours have been lost so many times. I set up a template and then it's gone on eBay. I'm done with messing with it. I just use my own listings and then just click sell similar. If the metadata from my own listing carries over and it's a decent item, I don't care. It's not going to kill me. Killer service, yes. Thank you, Candace. Very good. Candace had the highest month since last fourth quarter. Well, that's not bad at all since last fourth quarter. Now, the first, second, and third month of the year, we usually do very, very well, which we did. We had fourth quarter numbers. The economy, I know a lot of people say it's not this, it's not that. I personally think it's the economy because if you look at, we saw on other platforms. So I can kind of judge by that. I even can judge by like YouTube numbers. You can tell how many people, when people are inside the winter months, the numbers always go up. So I'm on other platforms. I can see, I compare the totality of what's going on with our sales to kind of judge it by that. Plus, as I said, I've got 2 decades worth of sales records. When we've been slow, when we were busy, when things died for a couple days here, when things died for a couple days there. I know every Mother's Day what we do on every single Mother's Day. I mean, it's all on a spreadsheet, so it's all simpleton stuff. That's the helpful stuff. That's how you're going to know whether you're your projections are right, whether you're going the right direction, whether you're making the most out of your time, your effort, and everything else. Yeah, a deal finder. I do think it's best to always create your own. I'll find to sell similar but same category of your own to sell similar. Again, I'm raining retro RC. I would never use anybody else's listing ever. Now you can cut and paste their title. Nothing's going with that. You can use and list it. If I'm going to create a listing, I'm just going to open up theirs if I want to cheat and just use their basic information. And obviously I don't use people's photos, but you can on eBay. They say you can. So I'll open up 2 screens. I'll do half screen so I can see both on the screen at the same time. Or I do dual monitors, so I can have one on one monitor and one on the other if I really want to. And I can just sit there and cut and paste and just pop in the title if I want. Usually if I like a title and I know it's sold for high money and that same person sold a couple and they always use the same title, I'll just cut and paste their title and move a word or two around and keep the same words in there. That's usually what I do. In all honesty, I don't sell one like it. I just don't do that. I took IT. I've got an IT degree, and I don't trust that any of that stuff isn't being used by eBay to hold us back. So if that person shipped late, for an example, they may have put some tag in there that says this guy's a slow shipper. Let's boot him down on the algorithm. Who knows? It may not even be showing up in metadata. It may be something that shows up in eBay on the server on the database side, because all the listings are just in a database. So depending on how they have the database set up, there could be something that pulls like records for this item. I don't know. I don't trust that they're not doing that. Yeah, list always does work. If we want to make more money, I just list a bunch more things. No exaggeration. Yeah, I end all of our listings. I don't cancel them or anything like that. That's probably what you're meaning, I would imagine. Let's see. I just lost bounced again. We're going to go for just a few more minutes here. Let me get back to where I was. How did I get so far off? Okay, a deal finder. A good example of not holding things too long is die-cast vehicles. The market is very strong right now, but probably will drop off again. That market's been up and down. NASCAR stuff used to sell like mad, but around here I can get it for almost nothing everywhere. So they've flooded the market with NASCAR stuff around here. So that's one of those areas that if I've got something hot, I'd get it out the door as quick as possible, because the market's volatile. Now die-cast like Hot Wheels and stuff, those are hot right now, top dollar. And again, I think the collectors are being overwhelmed by investors, even in Hot Wheels, red lines specifically, especially like graded and stuff. Hey Biff Bofo, how are you doing? I have a bunch of NOS Olympics programs that I've been rolling out one by one for a few years. I do the exact same thing. Can't speak for anyone else, but I have always done sell-similar off my own listings, and my sales have been rising every year since I started. Yeah, I'm fine with sell-similar off my own listings. That's all I ever do. Even if I want to change it and put a listing in another category, I've got a set listing we always use. So everybody grabs that same one. So you pull that one up, you just switch the category or whatever else. It's pretty simpleton. But once I get my listing set, chances are, from the minute I start using that listing, whatever listing I pick, I'm going to be using that same listing for a long time. Because again, we list like-to-like items. So I don't have to change categories when I'm listing. I try to keep prices together. So all the $9.99 prices will be next to each other. All the $19.99 will be next to each other. If it's like stuff that has state-specific or hotel, motel versus like airlines, they'll be separated. Everything will be separated. All of the Marks vehicles we're going to list are all in one spot. All the pinback buttons are all in one spot. All the jewelry items are in one spot. All the sterling are in one spot. All the ribbons are in one spot. That's the kind of stuff we got going up right now. I have 800 plus listings, so I end and sell some 200 every morning. So every 4 to 5 days, entire store has been refreshed. Now, I don't think you need to do it that quickly. It's up to you if you've got the free listings, but if you rotate your store out once every month, I think you're safe. That's my honest, sincerest opinion. And we've got it to like a 45-day range is what we're running on right now. And it seems to be okay. It doesn't appear that they drop your listings down after just a few weeks. I'm thinking we originally tried 60 days and it seemed a little off, so we're at the 45-day point. So I've got no listings in my store out of nearly 30,000 listings that are older than 45 days, I think, right this minute. As of just before the show, because I just finished End and Sell Summer, because I've been kind of behind with looking for a car. We've went to like 12 different lots, and some of the stuff out there for the price, Tri-City Smash. Is it too risky to sell $1,000 plus items on eBay? I have a few collectible electronic games that have a high chance of scam. I mean, if you're going to send something, I would send it registered if it's expensive. Signature, confirmation, tracking, insurance, whatever you can add on to it. Include it in the price that they have to pay to have it done. That's your best bet. The signature is always one of the number one things. Now, I'm not saying they can't come and swap it out with a brick or something, whatever you may be selling, and try and scam you. It's 100% possible to happen. I have a BOP, so technically I could report a loss of $1,000 or something to my insurance company, my business insurance, and it would cover the loss. But luckily, I haven't had anything like that. We've sent records to England in registered mail that was sold for over $4,000, 45s and stuff, and I was worried until the minute it got there, but it's always a chance. I'm not going to tell you it's not a chance. Anybody can rip you off on eBay or any platform out there to some extent. Amazon, it's pretty hard. With Amazon, they would open up an issue, and you'd have to refund the money, and you wouldn't get the record back, chances are, either. So it's an iffy one. It's up in the air. But I do sell $1,000 items. I take the chance. If I only have $5 into it, worst case scenario, I get ripped off and I lose that. But I'm not losing money. I'm losing potential profit. Again, I don't want to lose it, but there's just no way to protect yourself every single time. Let's see here. Yeah, I try to sell unique, but I do like niche categories the best. Not sure how to navigate this issue. I mean, there's no... Unless you meet in person, do it like a person-only meet and video it and all this other stuff. Video him looking at it and saying, yeah, it's fine. I don't know what else you can do. Sell it on a different platform, sell it on whatnot, but I don't know if you get the kind of money you would on eBay, the way it sounds. I don't think electronics sell very good from what I saw on there, and I didn't see hardly any. Deal Finder, I got to get serious about listing stuff. That's the best way to make more money, is to list more. Stardust Memories, you're listing while watching. I see it. Usually there's something playing in the background. I've been doing the whatnots while we're doing stuff, so I'll have it playing and I'll be listening. And I don't care. I don't look very much, but it's hard to see half the time. But Alfonso, my most interesting sale was the Tiffany Archivex. Anything Tiffany you can't beat. I've had Tiffany pieces and they always go for top dollar. Even if they're newer. I've sold some 70s Tiffany pieces for, some buku bucks. I average 900 listings, so I do 25 sales similar a day. So it's a new store every month or so. See, that's about right, I think, Sam Dallas. We tried. Now, we were running auction or running sales and markdown every 3 days. But what I found... What happened is if I run them 2 days, I definitely get 10-15% more sales than if I run them every 3 days. And why? Because when you start an auction or when you start a sales and markdown, I don't do promoted at all. If anybody's listening and doesn't know that, I don't do promoted on anything ever anymore. But if I run a sales and markdown for 2 days, the first day it says, hey, now on sale. After 24 hours, it says sales ends in 24 hours. Get it while it's gone, before it's gone. That kind of thing. It builds up that momentum for it. So you've got 2 days. If you do a 3-day or anything more than 3 days, anything after the first and last day kind of gets buried in the system. Because they're running. It's still got days left. There's no rush. It's still on for so many days. But if you run a 2-day, the first day it's like, hey, it's just on sale. It's like, ooh, they're interested or not. And the next day it's already running off, and nobody really knows if it's been on sale for a month or 2 days or 4 days on the last day of it. It doesn't say this item's been on sale for a week or whatever. It doesn't say that. So they got to rush to get it. So you've got to rush every other day basically if you're doing a 2-day sale. Again, we tried the 3 days. We did 3 days for a month and a half. We went back to the 2 days, and the 2 days do give us a 10-15% bump religiously every time we do it over a 3-day. So we're back to ending and sell similar and then doing a 2-day promotion. I think I did 3-day as of today only because we're going to be busy with this weekend. I've got a bunch of stuff going on, including the car issues, and I've got to go to the DMV tomorrow, and I already got the insurance covered tomorrow and all that other stuff. And I still got another car that's sitting here covered, waiting to be towed, the totaled one. Let's see where we at. Yeah, the vault thing, if it ships, it flips. The vault thing, I look up some complaints on the vault. They've sent stuff that they've guaranteed was correct for someone later on to find out it wasn't. They've even sent the wrong item to people. And there's reports, even on eBay. You can look over the Reddit boards on those. I'm not a fan of the vault, truthfully. It's a money grab and nothing more, in my opinion. I say that to anybody. That's my personal opinion on the money vault. Sure, some of it can be authenticated and all this, but I've seen too many. I've seen people actually close their account over it. They were so mad about what happened with the vault. That's personal opinion. Let's see here. I can't list while I'm watching or listening to regular talk music. Yes, but people talking, I lose focus. I get that. Ping Putter and Casablanca VHS. Yeah, you kind of gotta. Those aren't too bad prices. Where are we at? How do I use the vault? Now, to use the vault, they have to be authenticated already by one of the major companies. That's how it has to be done. Or you're going to sell it in a category that eBay is going to authenticate it, and then the buyer is going to want to put it in the vault or something like that. From what I read the whole thing. I even wrote an article about it for Ina. I'm no fan whatsoever of NFTs at all. I hate NFTs. It's a made-up commodity for money. That's all it is. I'm telling you straight out. I don't care what anybody else says. That's what an NFT is. And the vault is the same basic thing. So that companies that do vaults are going to end up doing, and I guarantee you it's going to happen on eBay, fractional ownership of expensive stuff. So there'll be a $100,000 Mickey Mantle rookie or whatever the price of those would be, and people are going to sell it on eBay in fractional, is my personal opinion of what it's heading towards, which would turn in those cards where no one would ever touch them, and all it would be is an investment. And when it changes hands, eBay just gets a percentage off of it. If it's doing it as a fractional ownership of it, basically that means that each person will get a share of the profits at the end of the day, is assuming how that eBay would probably do it too. I'm sure it's going that route. As soon as they put NFTs in, I figured that's exactly what it's going to go. Where are we at? Raining Retro, thank you for a great explanation of how to handle receipts. Well, hopefully that does help. Thank you. Yeah, check out the vault, but you've got to do a whole bunch of things for it. And there's going to be fees. Just to get your item out of there, there's a fee assessed by how much the item's worth. So this is going to, most people who collect, if I'm selling collectibles, 99.9% of every collectible I ever sell, the person who buys it's going to want to hold on to it. I don't buy stuff that I can't hold. Why would I ever buy something that I can't physically touch? Because to me, the interest, the excitement of having something like that is the fact that I can hold it. I can look at it. I can smell what an old book smells like. I can feel what the leather feels like. I can feel like the wood. All that stuff to me is part of the intrinsic and value, the interest in it. I like that. I like the smell of an old book. I like the smell of a 300-year-old piece of paper, or the smell, that metally smell of a bunch of dirty uniform buttons. I mean, I like that. It's like those who are gear grinders who love the smell of like car grease. I mean, I know people like that, and I get it. I fully get it. Or the motorcycle guys out there that I've talked to and stuff. You know, I'm a leather person. I've got 65 or almost 70 vintage leather jackets. I've all bought them from resourcing. I love the smell of leather. So when we go to the leather shop, if I go to the mall, I got to go to the leather shop just for the pure smell of it alone. I just love the smell of it. So I like the smell of, you know, a freshly cleaned and polished up leather jacket. I mean, I got a lot of biker jackets mostly, but anyway. Roberta Hellslip Evans, how are you doing? Well, thank you very kindly for the kind words, Roberta. Very, very appreciative. If I purchase my mailing labels through eBay, will I be able to pull that data from eBay at the end of the year, or should I continue to save those receipts? With eBay, you can actually just download your monthly reports, and then it's all in a column. I download all my reports as a comma delineated CSV file. A CSV file is, I don't know what CSV, I can't remember what CSV stands for, but it's basically an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Docs. It's the same thing. This will be the last one because it's already 8:30, but so at the end of each month, or if I'm doing it on a weekly basis, I just download my monthly reports from eBay, and that's what I use. And you'll just go ahead and download them as a comma delineated CSV file, and you open it up in Excel or Google Docs. All of your postage is in one single column. You slide down to the very bottom of that column and you hit the auto sum button in Excel, and boom. You might have to pick the very top boxes. There might be some gaps where there's no charges. So if you pick the very top box, whatever it is, whether it's D4, whatever it happens to be, and then the bottom one, it automatically adds them all up. So you've got all of your shipping instantly, and then I compare that number with eBay to make sure eBay's totals from their monthly reports and there actually matches it. And they've been within a change, and the last time it turned out it was a refunded it was a label that was printed that we ended up not using. I don't remember if it was cancel or what, but anyway, I got my money back on the label, so I just went on from there. But I'm going to let it go off at that, but that's the gist of it. There's not much to it with that. I always print from eBay. I do the bulk option. I print all my labels at the same time, and then I print a master scan sheet. I was happy with Whatnot. You get a master scan sheet too, so that was a plus because when they took them down, again, my my son's car accident was the day we were mailed, the day after the Whatnot auction last right around it Tuesday or Wednesday, the day after that. So the next day, yeah, it was Thursday, the day, I think. They ran it down and just had a sheet of paper. I don't remember if Evan or Tim, my son or one of our workers did, but they just dropped it off and had it all scanned. I like the master scan sheet. I use that for any site that I can get it. There's another way you can actually combine those all into one sheet too, if you didn't know, but that's a little more, you have to do something extra for that. But I'm going to let it go at that. Hopefully that's some helpful information today. Get another video out tomorrow. I'm a little behind, and I know I keep going back and forth on that on Patreon, but I promise you I'll get to everything tomorrow. Today, as I said, we spent the day looking at cars the last 2 days, and I'm tired of looking at cars. I might have a little sunburn in a few spots where I didn't put any sunscreen on, but anyway, I'll be back to normal again. Whenever I finally get caught up, I don't know if everybody else is like this, something always happens. Something always seems to happen. At least tomorrow, my son will have a car. I won't have to worry about taking him anywhere, and it's got low miles on it, and it's a newer car and the whole works. So that was our key thing: mechanically sound, low miles, and I got a Carfax on it, so I know it's had all its oil changes since day one and all that kind of stuff too. So anyway, I'm gonna let it go. I do appreciate everybody coming on. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please slam that thumbs up. I still have 172 in house. I just cracked the 100 mark, which I always like to at least hit before I go. But again, I thank everybody, and I hope you all have a good evening.